Mic'd.
Well, people are wondering, we said no countdown today. It is go live or go home. And
Yes.
since two of the three of us are home, it's pretty easy to say that. So good morning, everybody.
Home
Welcome
away
to
from home.
Bead
Yes.
Maker and Coffee, our last one of May, which is bug month. And we already showing you all the bug stuff. So you're just going to have to live with the three of us. Our special guest today, Sydney, is
Justin Labato. He had, well, you tell them who you are. I'll mess it up. I got a crazy morning.
I am a product of my environment. That's exactly what I am. Lead global consultant for Buff and Shine Manufacturing, trainer for Auto Geek, past president of the IDA, and of course just super involved overall with the industry and have a long history with PNS, and being part of the demo team and being part of the McCall team, and just, good dear relationship with everybody within that whole circle, of course, including you guys.
Awesome. Very good. And how long have you been in business? You've been detailing for a long time.
Yeah, so I started in 2008, so it's going to be, I'm 15 years in.
Wow.
Started unemployed and now owner of the property and building that I've been in since day one, from leasing to having it as my own headache.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you for joining us this morning. Justin, you missed it. We've all had just a little bit of a crazy morning. It sounds like you did too. I got held up by the Highland cows on Cartwright. They were loose on the road. So yeah, it's a little crazy. So, but we're all here. Yay. Ready to start off. Should we talk about where we've been the last week, Keith?
Sure, why not?
To stay home.
I got to be home for a week. Hey,
for a full week.
Right here at PNS Growth Central. And yeah, so that's it.
Yeah. So I just got back from Salt Lake City very late Saturday night. I had a ceramic coating certification at Budco. And then we also did a Friday night jam session on interiors. So I flew in Friday, got there about an hour before class started, which is always nice. And so landed there. Tony Mazel, the new director of training for PNS, joined me on this trip. So that was super cool. We had 8 people in our interior class on Friday and 16 on the coding class on Saturday. So super cool. Always a good time in Utah. I told them in the class, and it's funny because now when I say something's my favorite, it's like, you say everything's your favorite. But I did tell these guys, like, Utah detailers honestly are my favorite. Like, honestly, they really are. If any communities or states are trying to figure out, how for their detailers to not be so in competition with each other and be friendly and work together, Utah they set the bar. Really, really good guys over there. They all work together. It's like one big family. It's awesome. So always a good time going to Utah. So that is what I did, and just got home and haven't quite, I did get thrown back all into life all at once this morning. What have you done, Justin?
Well, this last weekend, I went to witness my 18-year-old son graduate high school.
Wow.
Interesting weekend. And then weekend before that was one-day extreme training.
Uh-huh.
I had 6 hungry students that did very well. So myself and Mark Elliott as my co-trainer, we jammed out a nice long day. I think we got out of here about 7 p.m.
Nice.
So it's been pretty good. And then before that, I couldn't even remember the last place I was at. I know it's been 4 cities in 4 months. But I'm sorry, 8 cities. 8 cities.
I was saying, you're a lightweight, dude. Come on,
8 cities in 4 months. What am I thinking? But previous training was, I was in SoCal. That's where I was at. I was
yes.
Yeah, you were. Detail with Uni, Carlos, and Rennie. And then the day before that, we were at Hot Wax with Brian. So it was a good
nice
Southern California run on top of some additional sightseeing with free time.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
We're glad you can join us. So this is the part of the show where we talk about our favorite product from last week. So I like to pull out just, a product that stood out to me last week in maybe one of my details, or even something that, I was able to help somebody with. So, um, it's always hard now to not say Defender every week. It's really hard. It's always like, what do I do? So for me, I'm going to have to say that, it's gonna be no rub. I just love that. I feel like, in my class this weekend, we really talked about like the processes and just the little touches that set you apart from those in your industry. So, what sets you apart, what makes you level up. And I really feel like No Rub is one of those products, because it really just ties it all together at the end. It's kind of that insurance can. I walk around, I hit in the door jambs, that little rubber boot, I'll do the vents, just little spots that need a little touch of moisture. They might be clean, but these things, they all get dried out and they look, it looks like they're still dirty. So I always feel like No Rub just is like, the chef's kiss on the final of part of the car. So that is one that, man, I think I would probably cry if I totally ran out of that product. And anybody who's been in my shop, that I usually have like 4 on reserve. Just like if I have 4, I'm low.
Sydney doesn't have a storage cabinet. She has a hoarding cabinet. I'm
Yeah.
just going to leave it that way. Um,
Little bit.
a little bit.
Little bit.
I
That's
guess my product would be actually our partner over at Rupes. So not this past weekend, but the weekend before, I had Prentice here in town, and we did a Rupes training class, and then we had a PNS coding class the next day. What a nice partner to have. What a great tool. It works great with a certain pad line that a guy on the other end of the line here represents, and and we love it for that. But it was such a fun time to have them up here, to have a partner come into town and support the PNS efforts, and they've been a long time partner as well. So my favorite product was Prentice St. Clair last week. So can't say enough about that. And then of course, yes, there's always Defender, which is game changer. So yep. Justin, what do you got?
I have to agree. Between Defender, yes, because it's not just new and hot. I've tested a ton of spray-on ceramic sealants and getting into ceramics in the early years of 2013 as a business owner and using it for my operations, right, and revenue. I've tested a lot of stuff. I wasted a lot of money, and that stuff is amazing, absolutely amazing. And even without the attachment to PNS, it is definitely something that is very unique in its recipe and formulation. Yeah. And then the No Rub, same thing. I've tested a lot of aerosol, silicone sprays.
Yeah.
And then you see at the dealerships where they basically light the whole interior up with that stuff.
Right.
A lot of that stuff is runny and nasty and pig snot basically.
Yeah.
And No Rub is definitely a good one that sets up really nice, self-leveling. Definitely kudos to that formula as well. But of course, my favorite would be the new EdgeGuard pads. Of course, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, but he's a Buff and Shine guy." Of course, no, seriously. You guys have not seen the profile, the patent-pending profile on these pads. The game-changing aspect of these pads is very unique. Yes, we have our Eurotech foam that we know that we've run through the ringer in regards to everybody being able to use it for that foam for years now and prove that it's a quality foam. But we're able to transition that foam into this new profile and make something that's completely different and a game changer. And I noticed a couple of comments, as far as distribution goes and concerns with that. We're still in the process of getting them ready. We want to make this. This is a home run for us, and we know it. So we want to make this right between packaging, delivery, the whole experience of you getting these pads, not just getting them and running them. And then the European market. There's always something in the works at Buff and Shine. You just sit tight, and things will eventually make their way overseas. I'm sure I could see that coming in the near future.
Well, if it ends up on our shelf, it'll end up in Europe with the Rag Company Europe, with Clean and Shiny, with John Hole and the team there. So So it'll happen. If it doesn't come from us, it'll come from Buff and Shine or vice versa. So this question actually is our first question of when is it going to see our partners? And that's from Anthony Brown, of course, because he is all ready to go. Justin, you better not hold that guy back. That's all I'm saying.
We've got a lot of distributors, asking, and we even being at Uber Detail in SoCal with Uni and Carlos, we did just a light giveaway of the pads, not selling them or anything like that, because we didn't want to devalue or take away from any of our other great distributors that we work with. So, as of right now, again, we're getting everything in line for being able to pull the trigger, but give us a bit. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. You got to remember, the owner of Buff and Shine created these pads from scratch. It wasn't like, we just got some kind of production machine that's able to pump them out. He had to build this machine from scratch. So it's one of those things where everything about the situation is completely unique, and there's hurdles along the way that we have to figure out how to navigate through. And we've done that very well, but it unfortunately also sets us back a day or two, a week or two, and those time frames add up to the whole timeline. So we apologize, but thank you for being patient.
Mm-hmm. All right. Comment from Anthony Brown again.
No rub coating is equivalent to a man getting a sharp edge at the end of his haircut. Without it, the great edge of your haircut is trash. That's so true. So true.
If you haven't had that experience, you're going to the wrong barber, fellas. So, which I'm headed there today because I'm going on the road. So, got to get tightened up.
Yep. Rag Company saying, good morning, team. That's most likely Gabe. He's usually our early riser.
He is. He's usually enjoying the peace and quiet of the lack of pandemonium at this time of day at the Rag Company.
Yep.
He's going to get some peace and quiet this week because he's sending the crew out on the road with us. So, Justin, when will the pads be available? When they're ready is the best answer we got, right?
Hey, slipping me $20 or $100 underneath the table, I might be able to get you some more information.
They'll be worth the wait. They'll be worth the wait.
Yeah.
Okay, this one, Sydney, I hope you know what that means.
Nope.
Okay. Well,
I think they're just smiling, saying good morning. This is from Joe Kimball. Did you know, and not to out him, but did you know Joe actually has hair? Like he chooses that haircut?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Not to out anybody, but let's put it on the live stream and see what they say.
He brought it up. Oh gosh, Alex. Good morning, Alex.
What is the holiday? Is it?
Yeah.
What am I missing?
Next Monday.
Yeah, next Monday for us.
Here.
But the Canadians are always off cycle from us.
Yeah,
so
Alex lives in Canada. So today he's given us his full undivided attention. That's so kind.
That's rather nice.
So nice. Oh, Josh Petro's here today. So nice. We got the pretty crew in the house.
Dude. All right. And I love this. Look who's here.
Joel. Good morning, Joel. Good morning, everyone. See you all soon at AFO. I'm excited to see all the industry friends. Yeah. Always a good time seeing everybody.
Right.
Oh, May 24 holiday.
I don't even know what May 24 is.
Is that what it's called? Just the May 24 holiday? Or somebody else says Victoria Day.
Ah, okay. Makes sense. Okay. All right.
Jamie the cleaner will palm Justin a hundo for pre-production pads.
I think you're going to need to up your game there on that one, Mr. Cleaner, because you may have some folks throwing some cash.
Might be a bidding contest at that point, kind of like a Barry Jackson.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Okay, so we're getting all the answers on Victoria Day. Okay,
perfect.
So welcome to the Victoria Day edition of not Victoria's Secret, but Victoria Day edition of Bead Maker Coffee.
And I come in the wrong attire.
There we go.
More lace. That's lace.
Yes, I am in my pajamas because of the Highland cow. However, not quite.
All right, Gabriel Bremer has a question. All right, what do you got, Gabriel?
Question about Defender and Bead Maker. Many people keep asking which to use first. I see Defender as a standalone protectant. Seems to be defeating the purpose when you use one or the other. What's your suggestions? So I have kind of a two-part answer on this. And this is just one from Dave's recommendation and two from my experience. So I do see a lot of people trying to put Bead Maker on top of Defender. Don't do that. Not that it's necessarily hurting anything, but you're totally taking away your experience from Defender. So Defender is so great on its own, has really great water behavior, great gloss and shine. No need to put Bead Maker on top. Now, if it's a couple weeks later and you want to use Bead Maker as a drying aid, knock yourself out. No problem. I have been using, if I'm still doing my wash clay seal, I can still use my Bead Maker as my clay lube. And then, because in that case, we're wiping most of it off. I mean, it's still working, but then if you go back over the top with Defender, that's your main layer of protection, right? Doing it that way, they seem to work just fine. I've probably done it on, probably 30 or 40 cars at this point, and it works great. And I know that Defender is what is, giving me my protection and my water behavior. But you don't want to go the other way because then you're kind of cheating yourself. It's kind of like when people ask if they can put wax on top of a ceramic. You're kind of cheating yourself out of, those benefits and stuff. So, I wouldn't use Bead Maker as a drying aid or a standalone and then put Dream Maker on top. It's okay if you're using it as a clay lube, but otherwise, if you're not doing that, don't use the two together really because, they're kind of serving the same purpose, and really you want to make sure you're getting all the benefits of Defender.
Yep.
Tony the
Trainer.
I like that.
Yeah, well, we have another name for him, but that's not official yet. So but Tony the Trainer, who was with you in Utah. How did that go?
It was great. We had a Jeep Wrangler as our rental car, which was pretty funny. It was an electric one. So that was pretty exciting. But Tony got to see kind of his first infield. If I remember right, I think it was actually the first time he's been in a distribution store. Because, Tony lives in Tehachapi, California. So he's never been to like a detail store before. So that was kind of fun. And, the guys at Budco are awesome. So, he got to meet Shad and see Shad in action. That was always fun. Shad's always, going 900 miles an hour. And so, we had a great group. Tony did great, super helpful. The ceramic coating class is pretty much the one he teaches at the training center. So that all went super smoothly. And we had a great time.
Yeah, I saw your clip on it. Looked like a good time, and it's nice to get him out of the mothership a little bit. As Justin knows, sometimes once you get out in the field a little bit, you kind of get a different feel for things. So it's always good to have that variety.
Yeah.
Victoria Day, yes, Alex, we got you. All right.
Yeah, to your point, Keith, I actually enjoy training outside of my shop more than inside of my shop. I don't know if it's just because of being here day in and day out, and all the early years of long days and long weeks, to where it's like when I'm out of here, I just want to be outside.
Yep. That's me too. So.
And there is Jamie palming Justin a hundo. Oh, Alex says, I love making Jamie spend his money. That's so funny. Otherwise known as the Moose's Loose Day.
Well, the Highland Cow's Loose Day is today. So that's an official thing. So.
Yep.
Hey,
morning.
Go on board.
Oh my gosh, my dog is having a cow down here. Sorry if you can hear her.
I can, but the cat's not present, so somebody's got to hold up the...
I had to kick her out of the seat to be able to get on, so she's around here somewhere, but the dog is losing it.
Good morning, Mark in Arizona.
Oh my gosh. Hyper. She's...
Can't wait.
So I believe Catherine has it on her order, so I'm one of those few people around here at PNS who sees the orders that's actually not in the warehouse. I do believe she's got a nice size order either on the way to her now or in queue, and it does have some Defender on it. So look for that.
Yeah. Knowing Catherine, most likely. Highly likely.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm out of comments, fellas and fellettes. What are the questions? Come on, we got to have some questions today.
Everyone's quiet. Everyone's quiet.
Ads, products, technical questions. Come on, there's got to be something.
Yes, I have a product technical question. I've always been the orange Europhone guy, Pat fan. Are you going to put that in the new profile?
The what?
The orange Europhone.
Oh.
The orange Euro. Oh, you're talking about the Euro cell. So, funny story. Not so funny. Reality is the Eurocell line, it didn't hit the ground running at the level we anticipated. The closed cell line, it's a limited line for the phone for what the uses could be. Obviously, rotary, gear-driven DA, standard DA, but not long throw. So, and we only had 3 phones for that. That was the red, orange, and blue. You're right. Orange is a great foam, but unfortunately, that will not be transitioning over to EdgeGuard as of now.
All right,
But,
I'm gonna have to slip Rich like a 2 hundo or something and get that done.
you know, it's all market demand, right? You know, you've got some certain regions and retailers that will like it, but the numbers have to add up, right? You know, just for like anything, even with chemicals, if the numbers don't add up, what do you do at that point? You keep running that SKU, or you decide to refocus your efforts and energy into something else new that could really take off, and that's more of a business challenge, I would say.
Yep. Everybody has their favorite. I love that orange pad. Always have. So I know the blueberry is pretty close to it, and that'll do.
That'll do.
We have another orange pad though that's open cell in our standard DA line. I think that you would like, but that keeps it. That standard DA line is more of a quality phone but budget friendly approach for people who want to buy in bulk. And we found that we enjoy using that orange phone. But you're right though, that blue is very similar in spec, even though it's different. And of course, that's something that we look at those numbers, and I couldn't tell you what that means. I just like to run them on the machine and give results, and then I can tell you what it means.
There you go.
All right.
All right.
And Justin, with the high humidity in Florida, what struggles do you face with applications down there?
Some of the thicker viscosity, higher solid ceramics tend to be a little tricky. So in order to manage that, we actually use a bit more product on the applicator so we can manage our application better, lay it down thicker. Some people say, oh, but you're wasting product. Not necessarily. You're managing the application, and it's only a little. And to be realistic, if your business model is installing coatings and you have enough coatings coming through the door, that's pennies on the dollar. They'll trickle over. So for that reason, yeah, we have experienced that. I mean, I'm going on 10 years now with coating installs, so we've been able to play with quite a few of them. And I'd say that humidity, and then of course it does play a factor too with because we wash everything still outside the element, just like majority of detailers do that are mobile or fixed location. We don't have a nice inside bay set up with a retention mat and all those other fancy things. My era of starting in detail was '08, so I'm like the new era of 2020 and up where everybody wants to get all super fancy. It's a little different catch to that, but we still deal with some streaking issues every so often because of that humidity factor, but we just managed to follow it up with maybe a second towel or go heavier in our application to manage the product. That's what we found as the solution.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Alex says, Swift worked awesome on sunscreen that had dried on a friend's leather seat. He then quickly became addicted to the scent. Win-win. Yes. Love the scent. Swift is, it's really taken off in the industry. A lot of people have it, love it. I love it. It's funny how now that I've had it, I think, how did I used to operate without it? Except I did kind of used to try to manufacture my own. But
natural finish, a little express.
Yep, loved it. But did you guys check out Jamie's video last week with the Scrub Ninja disc and Swift?
Yes. Yeah, that was awesome.
Crazy. That was pretty crazy. That did a lot of cleaning when paired up with a mighty tool like that. It did a lot. So yes, I love the scent. And Alex, I know that the next question is going to be, when will that scent be in the fragrance line? And it is on the top of our list, I promise.
Yeah, fragrances are a little tricky. I think they were more popular than we planned. So now when we plan the next release, we've got to be more
ready.
I always say build more volume before we release it. So
Yep.
This is a great question on a pad. I've always loved the soft foam questions because we all talk about getting out big damage, but a lot of those finicky paints that are super soft. This is a great question, Justin.
It is. Yep.
So, is black foam softer than white or a replacement for white? So, the black foam is the softer version of that polishing category. So, both of them are great for applying last standing product, which is the traditional wax or sealant. That way, you don't compromise your finish after polishing or correcting at whatever level. But with real finicky paints, I personally enjoy the black foam. When you have your piano black B pillars, some of your GM blacks, and you really want to throw something at it that's going to give you just that final finish. I personally like the black foam. Now, the crazy thing is, some other technicians get the same results with the light foam. So it's just one of those things in regards to the end user and their techniques that can make that difference in regards to what finish they're finding between the two. But they're both great, and they're both great to have in your arsenal. It's just a matter of what techniques and process you're exercising to get that finish you're looking for between the two of them. And then once you figure it out, run it. Just continue to use it and enjoy it so you can just always deliver.
Mm-hmm.
So I could not agree with this statement more, and I'm the road warrior around here, and I got to tell you, it is revitalizing always to get out with your customers and be in their shop and their environment and really kind of get a lay of the land. Because, Justin, you had the question about your shop, hey, what do I do here? But that answer is different everywhere you go. There is a lot of regional effect just because of weather and that kind of stuff. So I love this comment, Joel. Thank you for it.
Yeah. And that's so true too. Cause for those of us that are still, still in our shops and having to work, I think that, like going out like this weekend to Salt Lake, it does re-energize you. But what I love too, is that even those of us that are there to do the training, we still learn so much as well. From those, just getting into the field and, there's always something that you take home with you, which I think is so cool. And it kind of gives you that like boost of energy to, tackle that week where it's not just redundant, just cleaning cars every day of the week. So I love that. I look at that of getting out of the shop and traveling and, meeting with other industry partners and then just other detailers. It's just a little bit like invigorating. It gives you a fresh start to the week. I love it.
All right, Justin, we'll give you 25 cents for the intel on this one.
25 cents.
Hey, this is public knowledge, I think. But
Justin, you run down all the pads that'll be available in the edge guard. All the ones that have been announced.
Like I gotta suck in wind like Jim Carrey and Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
And then spit it all out, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, too. You never forget that scene. So basically, it's our whole Eurotech foam line, and that's going to consist of, from least aggressive, we're going to have our black, our white, and then going into our yellow, our blueberry pad, our maroon, and then our coarse, heavy light blue, which is like what most people would refer to as the bug sponge pad. And that would be what our lineup is going to be existingly. It's basically going to be a 6-pad lineup, and that's where we're going to start. We do have some, other ideas that we're working on back at the manufacturing facility with fiber-based pads, which is going to be really neat as well. But as of right now, that's going to be where we land with the lineup of our new edge guard pads.
Mm-hmm. Pretty exciting.
Cool. All right. Dilution ratios. Here we go.
What is the best dilution ratio for Carpet Bomber and Terminator in your experience? So these dilution questions are always so funny. This is why I have Keith here. So first, I'll start with Terminator. You don't dilute Terminator at all. You use Terminator totally straight. You do, Keith.
No, I just love that you give me the actual dilution ratio and you just take the ready to use. Carpet Bomber.
With Carpet Bomber. I'm going to guess, but here's the deal. This is just a plug for the Chemtrol. So I have a Chemtrol. So I've had it now for, what are we going on, 3 years? A little bit over
3 years, yeah.
So when you have a Chemtrol, you forget what the dilution ratios are. So I think is it 4-1?
8-1.
8-1.
But you know what? Use it 4-1. We need to sell more product. No, I'm kidding. 8-1 is the answer. It is. The beauty is if you buy the bottle, the quart bottle, it has the scale on the side, but it does actually say on the label 8-1.
Yeah.
And we haven't always put dilution ratios on all the labels, but it is on there.
Right. But in all seriousness, right? If you need it to be stronger, you're okay mixing it a little bit stronger.
Yeah, I wouldn't go any more than 4-1 strong.
Right. For sure. For sure.
You know, as Justin knows, when a manufacturer says dilute it to this ratio, what they're saying is this is kind of what is the maximally effective ratio for the product. And using it, you know, some people say more is better, use it concentrated. You don't probably get the full effect of the product. So, you know, use it 8-1. If you need a little stronger, go that way. But I probably wouldn't go much more than say 6-1.
Yeah.
It's kind of overdoing it.
We have a 5-gallon container that we basically just dump a gallon in there, fill it with RO water, and use it that way.
That's a great way to do it.
And honestly, that's how we've done it since day one. And you know, with the combination of course, Terminator and Carpet Bomber being our go-to for carpet and upholstery, it's been the punch that we need at the level we need it at. Not too much, not too little.
Yep.
All right. I guess we're a message board.
And I also want to say one thing about the dilution ratios, because this does come up all the time. So if you guys go to the Bead Maker Lounge, and I don't remember who right now, but somebody, and it says his name on there, made a great dilution chart that I pinned to the top of the group. So it's very easy to find. That dilution chart's amazing. So like I said, I don't remember who did it, but thank you so much. That's awesome. So when we're talking about these dilutions, always you can go back there and check that dilution rate to see like what that is for your container. So I just wanted to point out that we do have that resource now, which is really awesome.
Right. So one of the top trick, this is a tip I teach only in my classes, but when you put your product in your quart bottle and then you fill it with water, you're actually doing it backwards. Put your water in first and then put your chemical in. It won't foam and it'll be at the right ratio. So that's just a little top trick. So if you are going 8-1, you're going to put 3 ounces of product into 21 ounces or 24 ounces of water. So put 24 ounces of your bottle and fill it up the next 3 ounces with product, and there you go. But yeah, put your chemical in second, because then it doesn't get foamy and it doesn't create a mess. But if you like the bubbles, go for the bubbles.
Yep. So this next question is Alex replying to Joe as far as the humidity and things like that. So I believe Alex is in Florida as well, right? And so he's just saying, I haven't had any issues so far with Defender. He's applied it to 4 cars. So Justin, Defender in high humidity seems to be great, right? I have not heard any.
Yeah, I haven't had any issues with it. I mean, obviously direct sunlight might be a little bit of a different issue, but as far as my shop, you know, with the detail shop itself is about 2,500 square feet under air with big fans, no AC.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
We're always dealing with that type of thing, and that's the good part about being able to R&D with these products and understand them and test their limits. Yep. We haven't had any issues. That's one of the biggest reasons why I like Defenders, because you can just lay it down as is. You don't got to dilute it. You don't have to do anything else outside of some of these other products that work great, but sometimes you have to dilute them in order to get them to lay down straight free.
Yeah. Yep. Woo Jay says, thank you guys. All right. Mark says, is a 2-towel method for Defender? What's the best application method? Yes, I use a 2-towel method. My favorite towel combination is I use an FTW to lay the Defender. And then always remember too on Defender, that first wipe, we're trying to just spread the product. We're not trying to wipe it. We're not trying to remove it. We are kind of using that first towel to spread it. And then you wait for 10 or 20 seconds, wait for it to give a little bit of flash, and then wipe it off with your second towel. And so for my second towel, my favorite one is the Wolf Pack from the Rag Company. Mainly in this, I just like to use a really high pile, nice fluffy towel, picks up all the residue and feels awesome. I like to feel the product. So I like to use a super fluffy one because it's so stinking slick that, you know, I like that tactile feel of how slick it is. So I use a nice light, super fluffy towel for my second wipe.
I like the Insanity as my second towel as well. Something fluffy, deep pile, glides over. So yeah, but we smear it with the
Yes,
FTW, and then we
sure, that's a good word, schmear.
and then use a
Schmear.
fluffy towel to just do the second pass buff out.
Yes.
All right, Terry, good to see you on the show today.
Hi,
Stay tuned
Terry.
for special announcement about June's class, Terry. You may want to swing by PNS.
Oh man, yeah, let me talk about that real quick. So I've put out a couple advertisements about our June class at the Hayward Training Center. And I'm going to put up another post, but if there was ever a time that you thought you should sneak away to the Hayward training facility to take the training, June will be it. June will be it. So Tony and I will be kind of tag teaming that training, but for whatever reason, it just lined up. We have a bunch of really special guests that will be in the facility those couple days. And so it's just going to be a really, really good time. So if you ever were thinking about it, it's going to be a really good 2 days to be in Hayward. We'll just put it that way.
I need to get the security camera system installed with audio because I just want to watch those shenanigans.
It's going to be a good time. I cannot wait. I can't wait. Okay, Super 80. I'm really bad at reading that. Speaking of sunscreen, this is a good question. I have had sunscreen on my leg, remove the finish on an interior door panel. Will anything provide protection from sunscreen damage or no? So I notice that my customers that use mineral sunscreen, that seems to be the problem, is the high mineral sunscreen, the white. It's very, very drying. And so what I find is that if you're keeping a good coat of protectant on the door panel, that is really what causes like that nice barrier so that it doesn't absorb. Because mineral sunscreen is so heavy, if the door panels are dry, they kind of suck that sunscreen up. Almost they're searching for the moisture in that sunscreen. So if you're making sure you're keeping those panels hydrated, you shouldn't have as much of a problem. So the problem is going to be getting it out initially and then just keeping it really nice and protected. If I had a vehicle that tended to be a problem on, I'm going to jump up from something like natural finish or dynamic to the leather treatment. The leather treatment is just, a richer formulation. And even though it says leather treatment, you can totally use it on vinyl and plastics as well. So I would try using that. If you're having a panel that you're fighting with the sunscreen, I would try using leather treatment. And that is one where you apply it and then you leave it for 20 minutes before buffing it back off. So let the panel grab everything that it wants from that leather treatment before you wipe it off. But really, if the panel's holding on to sunscreen, it's usually a hydration issue because it's looking to that sunscreen to be its protectant. So do you have anything on that, Justin? You probably have the sunscreen issue quite a bit more than I do here.
Not really. I mean, to be honest with you, I've directed myself into such a new condition vehicle market that I don't see a lot of that. But what I do, I mean, it's just a matter of cleaning and conditioning at that point. It's always that two-part process. So whether it be microfiber or Sidekick as my agitating tool, along with Express, that's typically where I'm at with it to get it off. I mean, I've seen some that were a bit more stubborn, especially if the vehicle's windows are not tinted and it's allowing that sun to magnify in on the surface that the sunscreen is on, because some of the oils and who knows what the heck they put in some of that stuff, metals and everything else that go into sunscreen that kind of will penetrate and or stain or just color a surface as well. So there's that where it could be damaging, but at that point it's out of hand for me anyways, because I'm just there to enhance and preserve. So I have to call a dye specialist afterwards.
Yep. So it really does come down to the hydration that, so just make sure you're using, protection. It might be something where, you might need to have it come in a couple times to kind of restore the hydration to that panel, but it really does come down to the proper cleaning and conditioning. Just don't skip the conditioning step.
And that's like the preventive maintenance, right? Keep the condition that will actually help prevent the issue from becoming involved.
Exactly. Yep. Awesome. All right. Made me think twice before lathering it on again for sure. Yeah. And those, the high mineral, it tends to be the mineral sunscreens.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep. And then the metal usually in there is a zinc oxide. So that's
Yep.
Certainly not help your interior.
No, no. I find that easier to get off than surf wax, though.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Dr.
Extreme
Zogs, look out.
conditioning. What's that? Extreme conditioning. Extreme conditioning for me is the leather treatment. For sure. For sure. All right, Alex. Jamie's nasty farmer truck video with the scrub ninja was next level. It really was. It really was. And you know what? I love videos like that because videos like that, they definitely bring out the trolls, but trolls are helpful in situations like that, actually. It was pretty funny. The comments, if you haven't read the comments, it's a good time on that video.
I wish Facebook was around when I was pulling interiors and playing hopscotch in my shop with cockroaches. People would have had a field day with that.
Yeah.
That was during the MySpace Facebook transition before popularity of social media glorified.
I wish we could go back to the MySpace days.
Yeah, but just to listen to music and say hi.
Yeah, to have live music. Gosh, that was so great. So great. All right. Tony says, I definitely will be taking a few things from Utah back to Hayward to improve the curriculum there. Awesome. And you know, Tony, the fun part about that is, I mean, every class will be different. Like you'll learn something every class and it will change the way you do that. I just think that's so cool. Like you learn something from everybody.
You'll have never heard that one before moment in every class. All right. So this is a great question, and this is from Mr. Josh Pierce.
All right. Leather Cleaner Concentrate was a standout product last week. Had an elderly lady that likes to put hairspray on while she's sitting in her Range Rover. Oh, no. It helps soften up the hairspray so I could scrape it off and then let the seats and then it cuts off on my end. But brand new, I'm assuming. And yeah, that's crazy. I have some of that. I've never had to pull out the concentrate. That's amazing.
I use that Aquanet.
Yeah. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine spraying hairspray in my car. That is nuts.
It was a thing in the 80s.
Oh my grandmother had the old red. She was the little short Italian lady with red hair that had a puff like this.
Oh my gosh.
Do that with the pick and the Aquanet.
Oh my gosh.
Walk by her bedroom and it's like,
oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's funny.
Anything that flammable shouldn't probably be on your hair. Ask Michael Jackson. Well, you could ask Michael Jackson, but he's not.
You can ask him.
Hey, we got to check in from the boss.
Jessica says, hi, babe.
My one and only, there she is.
That's awesome.
All right. Good morning from John, folks.
Nice. Alex, this is a great idea. I read this earlier. Keith should walk around SEMA wearing a chemtrail like a backpack and be nicknamed the Dilution Man, the superhero the industry didn't know we needed.
It's like Ghostbusters.
He's my dilution superhero, that's for sure.
Dude, we could make a Ghostbuster.
You know what, Keith? Halloween is literally like the second day of SEMA. That's such a great idea. Let's build it.
I got a chemtrail in my shop.
I was the only team player on the Let's Dress Up for Halloween last year.
Yeah.
I think you should dress up. I think it's a great idea.
I dressed up like somebody trying to work at SEMA. It didn't work.
I did a full detail in a tutu.
Well, yes, you did, but only you could pull that off.
All right. New to polishing and picked up a couple of the one-step polishes from B&S Eurofiber Buff and Shine Eurofiber pads and some various yellow waffle foam pads. Should I try polishing with a different pad before tackling using the Euro? Justin.
Kind of a loaded question. So quite a few scenarios, obviously. What year is the truck? What color is it? What's the model? All these things are variables too, but it depends too on what you're trying to achieve. If you're cutting and polishing or just looking for a good one step. What I can tell you is if you picked up the Eurofiber and the Eurofiber finisher and you're new to polishing, I would, if you have a couple different liquids in your arsenal, maybe some all-in-ones like some Play Maker or some HD Speed or something like that, those pair well with the Eurofiber finisher. If you're really not looking to tackle heavy defect removal and you're going into foam, I can't quite say what yellow foam you have because there's no designated color to a specific type of foam. Yellow could be a heavy cut versus a polish pad. And waffle, and it sounds like you have a rotary, so it's hard to understand exactly what you have in order to actually give you some good feedback on that. But as far
Yeah.
as like the Euro fiber pads, that would be at least a good starting point. But there's a lot of good stuff on YouTube. Auto Geek, we have a lot of informational videos about all the different pads. If you could figure out what yellow waffle foam pad you have from what manufacturer, that might be a bit more helpful too, to figure out what you can do with it and what you can accomplish.
Mhm.
So hopefully that information is helpful.
Yeah, and my only comment on the Eurofiber pad, it is currently one of my favorite pads. I use that pad a lot. My only comment about it though is that I don't want you to have a bad experience. So Eurofiber and microfiber pads, they load up pretty fast. So you have a lot less working surface area on that pad than you do with other even wools. So you want to make sure that you have a good air compressor that you can blow it out, because you pretty much need to blow it out after every section that you do. And then for me, if I'm doing a vehicle, I like to have like 8 to 10 pads of that same pad for that vehicle if I don't have a pad washer, because the Eurofiber is one that you want pretty clean. Like, you're not going to be able to use it several sections in a row. It's very short pile. It's going to get, clogged up real fast with clear coat and product that, for you to have a good experience, you want to make sure that you understand how the pad works and the cleaning of it. So if you only had two, but you have like a pad washer or something that's right there, easy for you to clean between passes, then great. But otherwise, you just want to make sure that you have enough to cycle your pads appropriately, because you will get to the point where, you might get through a couple passes and you won't be able to use that pad anymore. So to keep your finish consistent, just make sure that you understand how they work and that you're set up, correctly to get the best um, results from it. But the Eurofiber is one of my favorite. I really love that pad.
Yeah, you're dead on about the pad
pad.
cycle, and that's key to that specific pad category.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. All right, Eddie. Thanks for joining us, Eddie. Love you all. Happy Monday. I hope, hopefully it's gotten warmer up there. It's like summertime down here now. He's in northern Idaho.
Oh, yes. Well, they're still in the Great North officially. And by the way, joining us, Bristol has made an appearance.
Oh, there she is. Look at her. There's the cat. She's not going to face the camera, but she's here. Eddie, Jamie, and Dewar are all here. The whole crew. Good day.
I love being a message board.
I know. Shout out to Angelo Perez for the dilution chart. So great. Thank you.
There you go.
Love
Yep.
it.
Yep.
FTW and the Wolf for the win. Absolutely. Love it.
Oh, yes. Yes. Man, these guys are just having a whole chat.
Romero says, nice. I'll be in the storefront waiting for everyone. Are you guys all having a meetup without us today? What are we missing? They're all going to Hayward.
Well, hey, you never go wrong going to the mothership.
Right.
As I call it.
Yep.
I'm out of comments. Oh, no, I'm not. There we go.
We know Terry loves the shenanigans.
It does.
Sometimes I think I live in the wrong country. Is that from Gabriel?
That is from Gabriel. We may have an announcement on some of that stuff here soon, Gabriel. So stay tuned to our next Bead Maker and Coffee.
Yeah.
Look at this. There is a meetup in Hayward. Look at that.
Oh, man. You guys. I'll be there in a couple weeks. Eddie says, have a great week, everyone.
I'm just plowing through.
Good morning. Surface prep versus alcohol. How to explain the difference?
This is a hot topic for you and me. We have our own opinion on this, don't we?
Yep. Surface prep versus alcohol. So I've never had a customer ask me to explain it, though, so that's cool. That is amazing. So I like to use surface prep. I think maybe this is just that I, trust in the science and trust Dave that, there's, paint prep is the right thing to use. Straight alcohol can vary. And I don't know, I feel like straight alcohol is a little bit drying, right? I mean, I use it for some stuff, to get, residue and stuff off, but to prep the vehicle with straight alcohol, I don't know. I like the
So
surface prep.
my experience with straight alcohol is, alcohol does a good job, or isopropyl does a good job on certain things, but there are other cleaning agents in the paint prep product, so you get a little bit more variety and diversity in what it'll attack, because we have everything from waxes and greases to also mineral spirits that may be left over from the compounding and polishing process, as well as residue. So it's, Dave has built that so that it'll attack all of those things, whereas isopropyl alcohol is pretty much just a focused bandwidth of kind of one space. So a little variety there doesn't hurt. And as far as the makeup of the product.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, obviously, the chemists who make the products for any manufacturer are trying to deliver something above and beyond just a IPA or alcohol. And, it can get you by if you're in a pinch, yes. But just don't be a cheap ass. Get the right stuff.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. I mean, and then there's a certain level of dilution that even Mike Phillips himself is found. I think it was like 12.5% of IPA is really all you need if you were gonna make a panel prep based on just pure alcohol. Anything above that's a waste. So I mean, there's that, and it's good for when you're in a pinch. But realistically, I always recommend use the manufacturer's panel prep. And if you find a good panel prep from a manufacturer that you enjoy using, that is solid, continue to use that. I personally wouldn't use, alcohol. It's just really not a professional way of going, to be honest with
you. Yep.
And, straight up IPA left on paint for a period of time can actually soften the paint a little bit. So not necessarily a best practice to throw that out there. All right, here we go.
All right. Spraying a fog of Aquanet with a Marlboro Red dangling from her lips, safety first. That's awesome.
That is a picture.
Bring me back.
Yep.
Bring me back.
Yep. So this one is from Bob Phillips.
Hey, Bob. Bob is at an undisclosed location in Europe negotiating something. I think more sun is what he's negotiating.
Yes. Chad, good morning. Good morning. All right. So this is related to the question about the pads. So he says he has a white 2008 Scion, extremely neglected, and he has a Griot's G9. So this is back to the Eurofiber waffle. He has both McKee's and DIY yellow waffle pads.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, honestly, I'm gonna say use the waffle pads first. Like if you're not super familiar with pads, I'm gonna say use the waffle pads first, just because if it's neglected, that Eurofiber pad's you're gonna have like one pass and it's gonna be.
Well, the biggest question is, Scion was made from Toyota. Toyota still uses single-stage white unified paint.
Right. Yeah.
So is it that? And if that's the case, then then I would recommend going with the Eurotech Bug Sponge aggressive foam pad, because that still can sell, and it will cut and level more consistent than any other foam pad can on that single-stage paint without you removing too much material. But if it's not that, and it's their Pearl or any other, they say they didn't spray with that unified paint, then test spot to Sydney's point. Go foam, then go fiber, and see what your results are. Maybe you could get it a respectable finish in one step. Maybe you have to go two steps. Is it your personal vehicle, or is it for a customer? And what are their expectations?
Yeah. What are you getting paid for? What's the end game? If you're doing full, correction to the best of the vehicle's ability, you might need to go invest in some more pads just to make your life a little bit easier. That's the other thing is looking back into the first couple of years of my career, I can't believe that I used, the wrong pads for the wrong job. And I would take, 4 times the amount of time to do the correction. I know looking back, they weren't, great, because, the consistency will start to waver as the pads get old and break down. And because you're using a pad for a job it's not really meant for. So I would definitely, make note of what your end game is. If it's just to do a one step to make it look better and you're just buzzing across it with maybe, a 40% increase in finish, then you might be okay with the yellow waffles. But if you're really needing to do some pretty heavy cutting and correcting, you might need to grab some other pads for sure if it's
Yeah.
neglected, because that pad's going to load up no matter what pad you use. If it's neglected, you're going to be pulling off oxidation and things like that, and that will ruin a pad real fast. And so you're going to want a lot of pads so that you don't destroy your pad, because if you try to push it past its limit, it will destroy it.
And it seems as if, 2008 Scion, that sounds like it's just going to be a project.
Yeah.
There's not too many categories that vehicle is going to fall into. And that's not to discredit the brand or if it's your personal vehicle or anything like that, and it's your baby. It's just, in general, I hear somebody call me and I say I have an '08 Scion. I'm like, okay, this has been used a couple of times. Let's get it in. Let's take a look at it. Let's see if it's a candidate for our services. We may not be able to do nothing because at this point, we're talking 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what that vehicle's seen. And there's not too many of them, I'm sure, that are garage queens. Maybe show car, because they did a lot of neat things to those vehicles. But outside of that, if it was a daily driver and used and abused, yeah.
Yep.
And every 10 minutes you invest in doing test spots will save you an hour on the back end.
Right.
Do the test spots. And a fresh pad with fresh product on every test spot until you figure out what you're going to do. But that, if you invest half an hour in that, it's going to save you 2 hours on the back end of screwing around with us. So just invest the time and effort into the test spots, figure out what your answer is going to be, and then get after it.
Yep, for sure.
All right.
All right, I have a carpet extractor. What product would you recommend for cleaning seats? This is a really loaded question. So I'm going to start with my recommendation, which is not going to be super normal. So I don't really like to use extractors for the way that extractors were intended to be used. I also don't like to do super dirty cars. So I use the carpet system. So Terminator, Carpet Bomber, Finisher. I will start with all the normal ways of processing those. So spray Terminator, then follow up with Carpet Bomber, a drill brush or a hand brush. And then I'm going to either use my steamer. If it's super dirty, I grab my extractor, but here's what I do with my extractor. I do not use extractor shampoo. I use my extractor only basically as a dry extractor. And so what I do is I run Absolute, just the regular dilution, 256-1, because I'm kind of just using it as a little bit of a rinse aid. So if I have something that's super dirty seats that have a lot of matter in them that would take forever for the steamer to pull out, then I will lightly mist with Absolute over the area that I've already cleaned with the Terminator and Bomber. I will lightly mist it with my extractor. I don't do the TikTok soak it thing. That's super bad. So I lightly mist it with Absolute, actually, because I'm not wanting to add any more surfactants or cleaners to the surface, because honestly, the Terminator and Bomber should do everything that you need. So I mist over the surface with the Absolute and then like almost dry extract. We're talking mist. So then I use my extractor to pull out the matter and, the rinsing of the Absolute. And then I put my finisher on. That's what I do. Now, if you're doing dirty cars and you need a true extractor shampoo, I know that P&S has an extractor shampoo that's great. So that's kind of the simple answer on that. But I do encourage you to only use that when very necessary, as far as, your extractor, the typical extractor way.
Yeah, I think that everything you said was dead on, the process, all of that. So it's a matter of what luxury you have of keeping the vehicle too, right? So like here, we like to keep the vehicle overnight to monitor drying if we do heavy extraction jobs. But we do not, and I've never been a fan of putting anything in my extractor reservoir. I know that they have products, I know that they have soaps, and I know that they are safe, but I've always just been a fan of just a good, clean water reservoir and using the chemicals that I'm applying to the surface to extract that out and moving forward with that. But the process is dead on. Same system with the interior system with P&S, and then agitating and extracting, or steam and then extracting, and and letting it sit and dry and then see what happens. There's maybe some wicking depending upon how soiled it is.
Yep.
Just address that once it dries, and don't keep going at it or
Yeah.
just watch it bloom.
Yeah. The least amount of water that you can introduce into fabric and carpet, you're going to have better results. If you introduce too much water, it just ends up the whole thing looks like a muddy, cloudy mess. It dries hazy and stuff. And so it's better to just let the products do the work and then extract it out. But less water is always better inside a car. Always
So,
better.
top tip, I learned this from a detailer actually in the Hayward Training Center.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of putting the extractor shampoo in the extractor, mix it 128 to 1. Instead of using your absolute dilution, Sydney,
Mm-hmm.
use the extractor shampoo in the same way.
Okay. And do they put it in the extractor, or like my absolute, I actually put it in an IK sprayer so that I have more control.
Yeah, put it in a sprayer, 128 to 1. Use it as your kind of top solution to pre-dampen.
Okay.
And then use your extractor dry.
Nice.
Or if you need to use a little bit of moisture with the extractor, you can do that.
Right.
One of the benefits of the extractor is there is some heat in the water that does help release stuff.
Yeah.
I prefer a steamer because it's drier method. But if you don't have that and you have an extractor, instead of putting the solution in the extractor, just mix it up and do a light mist and follow Sydney's method there. That product has a kind of an element to it that'll help dry the material. It'll help it dry faster. So great product for that. And I learned that from one of our students a couple of years ago. So it's pretty.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Here we go. Back to alcohol and paint prep.
This is a good one. Gabriel said this. So clean a window. So if you want to know the difference of how alcohol and paint prep work, clean a window and look at what's left behind. That's the same thing that's left behind on the paint. Great point.
Yep.
Great point. Terry, thoughts or opinions on using paint prep before polishing to remove any soap residue?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, extra step. The polish is going to, it's not, the soap's not going to hurt anything when you get to the polishing stage. That I don't think there's any benefit there. Yeah.
And it's going to be very minimal, right? I mean, if you drive the vehicle thorough and you just got a couple patches here or there.
Yeah. Yep.
Then you should be fine.
Yep. You're good.
Just rewipe.
Josh says, Dave had an awesome webinar last week on dressings. If you're an IDA member, make sure you go back and watch it. Yes. So it is, there's links around, and it's also on the YouTube channel for the IDA. He did do a great webinar, which Keith joined him on, about dressings and just all the different kinds and, solvent-based, polymer, but everything on there. It was a great webinar. He had a really good turnout. So yeah, go back and watch that. And you can get your CE credits for it too. So good deal.
All right. I'm not sure.
I don't think this is the Dave Phillips, right?
I don't think this is chemist Dave Phillips.
I don't think it's chemist Dave. I don't think it's our Dave Phillips. I know I read this and I was like, I don't think that's Dave. So we pulled the wrap off of a boat and it leaked. What would you recommend to remove the surface mold from vinyl? And the reason we don't think this is our Dave Phillips is because he has a product for this.
Because he's got a whole green boat lawn care line, so I'm pretty sure it's not our Dave.
I'm sure it's not our Dave Phillips. Justin, how do you deal with boats? I only deal with new fancy boats. So
I mean, there's Dave's and there's Marine 31. There's a product in between those two lines that should get you where you need to be. I mean, there's mold and mildew removers that are safe for vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That will actually be preventative as well. There's chemistry to those that will clean and prevent mold from regrowing or reoccurring.
Yep.
Whatever you do, please don't mix up a bleach water solution and clean the seats.
Yeah. So
just don't do that. If you do nothing else, don't do that.
I thought it was bleach and ammonia.
Bleach and ammonia, yeah. And so the base product is called Mildew Buster, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
And I've had to use it. It works great. I guess depending on how bad the surface mold is, just make sure you're wearing gloves and a respirator and all that kind of good stuff. And then the Mildew Buster should hopefully get you.
And clothes that you don't want to wear it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing is that product has actually gone through the testing. So has the seat saver out of Babes. So they're actually authorized by the vinyl manufacturers for marine vehicles. So if you have a newer boat, you guys want to make sure you're using products that don't void the warranties on those things.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. Stephen Chin. Good morning, guys. I have a storefront question for Justin. I will call you later today.
Wow. Stephen Chin calling Justin about storefront stuff. Awesomeness.
Shots fired. I'm just kidding, Keith.
Doesn't hurt my feelings. One less phone call for me today.
Hey, we work together as a team.
Right. That's what I'm talking about. That's
Yeah.
not shots fired. It's like, dude.
No,
might
I
have
think
been
that's awesome.
might have been customer related. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
How do
It's
I handle
network.
this guy? Well, what you got to do?
Right.
God, dude.
Yeah. Steven, it sounds like you're going to have, I was just going to say, Steven, it sounds like you're having a lot of visitors coming in today.
Yeah, it's a party at the mothership today at Steven's store.
That's awesome.
He gets all the fun.
This was related to the seat cleaning comment.
Dave actually was Dave.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is so funny.
I see what he did there.
I just got the text. He said, so I gotta read the text. He says,
Oh my gosh, that's
"It is me, just looking for personal opinions from the experts. Our personal opinions from the experts are do what Dave says. We're not very helpful. What the heck kind of show are we running here?"
That is so funny. Oh my gosh, hilarious. Hilarious. Well, thanks for joining us, Dave. Thanks for throwing us off. Did we have the right answer?
I don't know. We'll have to dial in.
This is from Gabriel. The white pad and envy should be sold as a bundle.
That is a good top-up.
I agree with that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. More envy.
Man, I love envy. We in the coding class this weekend, we had the windshield wipers were up, and there's 8 guys on each car. We had 2 cars, so it's easy in those classes to miss high spots. And I saw it when they did it, and I purposely let them leave it. But when they were going underneath the windshield wiper, they left a big V of legend, and so we got to show them how envy works on high spots, and it was really cool. But I love that. I love to use envy for that.
It's the rescue tool with a high spot.
Yes.
Anytime, Jorge.
Thank you, guys. Great webinar. We got to figure out how to make this show their names. Any ideas on getting oxidation off emblems besides acid?
Oh.
So I like to use Crystal Wash. Crystal Wash works great, but honestly, if they're really bad, it's probably going to be acid.
Or
I kind of go between the two. I mean, if it's really bad, I use, but I also like to just pull the emblems off. Is that a bad answer?
No, sometimes if the chemicals can't do the job, if you can't restore, at the level we can, then replacement's the only answer. I mean, we're only capable of doing so much as detailers. Even though we push the envelope at times, there's only so much capabilities that we have to offer. Sometimes customers' expectations are a little unreal.
Yeah.
They think anything could be refurbished and brought back to life. And it's like, you let it go too long.
Yeah.
I'm just here to provide a solution.
Right.
The solution isn't a fit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I do Crystal Wash as my first line of defense. And if that doesn't get it off, then I'll, do the acid, which I do. I'll spray the acid, and then I use one of the Detail Factory brushes to kind of get in and around as much of the emblem as I can. And then I deactivate it usually with Brake Buster. Is kind of my favorite one to use on emblems. And then rinse it really well. But if that doesn't get it off and it's still not satisfactory, I'm not a fan of emblems at all. So, I mean, when they're really bad like that, sometimes I will, encourage the customer that we take the emblems off if they really want it perfect. Because sometimes there's just not, you're talking like, toothpick sizes of oxidation that's left behind. So those are my 2 products that I use, which Crystal washes a mild acid. So my answers aren't really beside acid.
Yep. Well, the other thing to remember is that's a foil material over the surface of
Yeah.
a plastic,
Right.
lettering or shape. It's, the old days, you probably could even take that thing off or grab, a small, like the rotary detail tool from Flex or the other one that's out there, and you could have that, but you use even a fine polish and a foam panel, you're going to rip all the foil off of that and
Yeah.
emblem shot anyway.
And it
So
might look worse. Yeah. Because underneath they're a pretty yellow plastic.
yeah. I mean, the mildest thing I'd probably use is glass cleaner on those, but a lot of times that just doesn't get it done either. So,
yeah.
By the way, the great webinar comment is from Mr. Alan Medcraft. So
Oh, nice.
awesome to have Alan on today. Thank you for being here. All right. Great question. EnviroClean works amazing with horsehair brush. Yes, it does. I assume that's on leather, vinyl, and interior.
Yeah, that was back. He left that when we were talking about the leather.
Yeah. What was that for boats?
Oh, that might have been when we were talking about boats, actually.
Yep, that might be.
Yeah,
for boats. Yep,
right.
That'd be a good product. I would still probably try a designated, marine seat cleaning product first, but EnviroClean certainly is going to work really well on vinyl and properly diluted, of course.
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
Yep, Joe said he was talking about boats. Yep. Stevie Jen, hey, Terry, hope I'll be there when you get here to the meetup. Alex, Dave heard the trolls comment earlier and thought he would test the waters. That's so funny. Joe, are we allowed to talk about other brands? I found a product that works very well on emblems. Go for it.
Send it.
You can talk about it. First from Puerto Rico, good morning. Right. Sydney just removes them. Is that the other product? You just take them off.
Sydney uses
this. We're not cleaning those. They're just gone.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, that is going to be a crew down at
God. Yeah. You guys better have another meetup when I come in.
All right, here we go.
Okay, to the emblem comment, price out the replacement and give them the options. Yes, it will take X time at X rate to fix them, or you can buy new for X price. That is so accurate, 100%. And that's why generally I remove them. I try to get them to leave them off, but I have done that where I look and see, how much the new ones are, especially on older Silverados or something. Sometimes it is cheaper to just buy new ones because then that way you take them off, you get it fully clean, you polish behind them, and you've got a perfectly clean surface to put the emblem back if they want. This is kind of the same. I feel the same about cleaning carpets, like carpet floor mats. Like if they're really trashed, price out the new ones, because then you can call the customer and say, hey, a new set of mats is $80, or I'm going to charge you $100 upcharge to clean these ones up. And they're still not going to look great because they're worn through. So it's kind of the same thing. Like always, if there's a replacement item, watch how much time and effort you're putting into that situation.
It's delivering value, right?
Yes.
And if you need to go back, the good thing about it is you have that outline. If you have a ghosting effect, then you have the outline of the old emblem. And you can always go back over. And if you can't see it for any reason, you can get yourself on online. You get a little black light, and the black light will actually show you where the emblem once was if you can't visually see it.
Right.
So that way it allows you to lay right back over in the same designated area.
Yep.
So, because he was on the show, we'll show the product. IGL Elite, because Joel was here today, so hey, there you go.
Yep.
We all have friends in the industry. Sometimes you just find a product that works. So.
Yep. Cool. All right. Was at an office conference call and couldn't be from the start. Dang it. You know what's great is you can go back and watch on YouTube.
Yes.
We're still trying to figure out how to get these into podcasts, I promise. I love this question. I just started playing with dynamic dressing. What is your favorite use for this product? And also, why is it so expensive? So I'm going to tell you one, it's not really that expensive. So what you're buying, when you look at that price of dynamic in the gallon, That is a concentrate. It's a super concentrate. So it's meant to be diluted. So if we take it and I don't remember the total cost of the gallon, but it's right around $100, right?
Mhm.
Retail. So that gallon makes 40 pints of dynamic. So it's really, that's like $4.44 a pint. Like when it's ready to use. So that is less expensive than a lot of other products out there on the market that come in pints. So it's actually when it's diluted at 4-to-1, it's not expensive. Even at 2-to-1, you're talking $8 a pint, and that's a really shiny dressing. That's, you really don't need it at 2-to-1. So it's really not that expensive when you calculate it out, price per ounce once it's diluted. It's actually not expensive at all. It's actually a little bit more cost effective than some of the other products on the market. Dynamic dressing, it's in my top 5. I absolutely love dynamic. I use it for everything exterior. Tires, fender wells, all exterior plastic. I use it on black faded wheels. I'll use it as like a wheel conditioner, and then you spray it on, wipe it right off, or not wipe it right off. Spray it on, let it set. But my point in saying wipe it off is it wipes off super easy. Dynamic wipes off paint and metal easier than any other dressing that I've ever used. So it's super easy to clean up. So I use it for a lot. I know you can use it on the interior too. I don't choose to because me personally, I'm not a fan of the banana scent. So I use natural finish because I like leather scent, but Dynamic's awesome.
Yeah.
So happy it's
If you do the math on it and even if you dilute it 2-to-1, so you get 3 gallons out of a gallon, divide the gallon price by 3, and that you're right in the ballpark for what a good dressing is.
Yeah.
And at 2-to-1, that's some shiny stuff.
Yeah,
that would be tire dressing to me.
Yeah.
We recommend 4-to-1 for just regular, general use. And now you're making 5 gallons out of a 1 gallon of product. When you look at the numbers on that, it's not only affordable, it's super affordable compared to a gallon of ready to use product.
Yep.
And Justin, you got a store. I mean, it's a little hard to get a consumer to say, hey, I'm going to buy 5 gallons of product. And, but if you've got a professional detailer, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we dilute it 4-to-1 at the shop. It's our bulk dressing for engines, wheel wells, all those areas where I could just go and spray and not necessarily be careless, but just really, soak the surface to say and let it be. But talking cost, I mean, it's not cheap. It's not cheap because there's a lot of raw materials in it that aren't cheap.
Right.
And with the last couple of years of dealing with those specific raw materials, there's been a price hike that was unreal.
Yeah.
And it was either continue to make that product and sell it or minimize, and then when the market goes down for pricing, to come back with it. And that's what happened with Dynamic. And there's a lot of other manufacturers out there that had the same struggles.
Yeah.
A lot of them, especially with the amount of that specific raw material that was in there, that the price went through the roof. So,
yeah,
these products you pay for what you get, and they do a good job because they're made well with the right materials that aren't cheap.
Yeah, we suspended production on that product when we were at the very peak of the market cost on, and that's a very unique siloxane that's in there, and it's an expensive one. So it was not only about the cost of it, but also the availability of it wasn't real super available.
Yeah.
That has normalized a little bit, so there may be even some better news on that product coming. I won't let the cat out of the bag, but it's going to be good for you guys as consumers. So
yeah. Yep.
All right. A little late, but I love this. Just recommend replacing the emblems.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Before you spend all that time, like see the availability of them and how much the cost for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely check out the webinar on dressings. We were talking about it. Oh, let's do one on, but dressings have a huge amount of space in the industry, and sometimes we just don't talk about them enough.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This is about pricing out replacing because price them out because same thing. How much effort are you going to put into trying to repair and restore that headlight?
Yep. Our first turtle sighting of the day. We're well into the show, so that's awesome.
Sydney's cat looking quite majestic.
She is in the Overwatch position.
Yeah. She's a good one. Dynamic for the win. Yes. Love it.
That's from John Folks. Yep.
I love dynamic.
Rick.
What up, Rick?
Hi, Rick.
Uh-oh. I got one on here from Tubcraft Coatings, but it won't let me show it. So I'm going to have to.
It's an emoji.
Yeah, it's just an emoji. Yeah. Todd Brown. Got to get back at it. Have a great day and week, folks.
Well, we are at the end of our comments and input. We got Rick here. So we are well past our hour plus. Closing comments. So, Justin, where are you going to be in the next couple of weeks?
Sorry, I got actually 2 places now that I think about it. Next week, I will be attending Southern Detailer Conference on behalf of Auto Geek. We will be there. We have some education classes between Robin and myself. We'll be having 2 on Friday, and Robin will be hosting one herself on Saturday. Hope to see anybody who's attending there. And then after that, I am on a personal vacay to the Bahamas.
Woo!
Family vacation at wonderful Abaco.
Nice work.
Yeah, and then I think after that is AFO, unless something just pops up and gets slammed into my schedule, which does happen. But that's where I'm at. Other than that, you catch me here at the shop grinding.
Awesome. Very cool. Let's see. It's going to be a little crazy. So, most of you know I have a car show coming up. So I'm in full car show prep mode also. So a little bit crazy, but that's coming up in less than 30 days here. But on June 5th and 6th, I will be in Hayward for that training that I was telling you should go check out. If you wanted to come to a training, this will be the one. We have lots of special guests, so I'm super excited about that. And fun fact, our next Bead Maker and Coffee, I just looked at the schedule. I will actually be there. So I'm going to have to be up and ready to go that morning at 6 a.m. in Hayward. So I will be actually in the training center for the next Bead Maker and Coffee, which will be super cool.
Will I get a double Gwyn on that one?
That's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. She could be my co-host. That could be an interesting addition.
That could be a whirlwind of a day.
Do we have a 3-second delay for? Yeah.
I will find out how to put a dump button on the broadcast.
Good times. So yes, so we will be live and Keith, will you be somewhere too? Or you're just getting home from North Carolina, right?
Yeah, so I am this week on Tuesday. I head out with the guys from the Rag Company and a bunch of other Coach Camille, a bunch of other guys. Mm-hmm. We're doing the Northeast tour. So Wednesday, we are kind of upstate New York, and I get the bonus of being paired with your partner, Justin, in Robin Sweet. She's going to join us for the tour. So she's going to kind of help me out as a product expert for P&S. And then Thursday, we're down toward New York City. Friday, we're on Long Island. Saturday, we're at the Haggerty location on Long Island. And then we all get to come home. And then the following week, I'm in North Carolina for coding class with Mr. With the entire team at Carolina Detail Supply, because I don't want to exclude Meredith because she's the one who's doing all the hard work there. And then the week after, I'm back in New York in Rochester, Buffalo area, because we have a coding class in Rochester. And then the week after that, I'm with you, Sydney, at your car show. And then we'll breathe.
Yep.
And then we'll probably have nine other things booked by then.
For about a week. Yeah. So cool. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you so much, Justin, for taking time out of your schedule to join us today. This was great. And we will see everybody in 2 weeks. You guys take care. Make sure you send in any questions and comments that you have in the meantime. And we will watch for you guys on the lounge also.
Sydney, Keith, thank you. And everybody, of course, who took time out of their day to watch this.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. I will be at Carolina Detail Supply. Rick, give me a shout. I'll send you the address.
Awesome. All right, everybody. We'll see you next